Like, that would be perfect. It's like, we're coming back for the championship, and it's like, yeah, if we win, it'd be nice, but I just want to have fun.
I do. I mean, I feel like you feel it though when you watch them. I have a lot of fun watching them, and you can tell
Oh,
they're
yeah.
kind of they are just there to have fun. I think that it's about the friendships we make along the way, as they say. You two totally disagree, but
I hate friends.
But I like winning.
yeah. But when it comes to winning, though, they're gonna have to go against Guild today, and Guild they are looking phenomenal. Baller, who knew that they had this in them?
Yeah, this is ridiculous. Did you say you did? You did, actually. You did. Legendary tweet. No, but these guys, I mean, they're so unexpected, I think, based off of the group. But it's not even the fact that they made it out. It's the fact that they made it out in the way that they did, right? They 2-0'd Optic, and then they have a close game against Crew, but they come out with looking even better. Leo is having a performance of his lifetime. Trex is having a performance of his lifetime. For guys who are new to the stage, nobody could have expected this.
Well, that's the thing. It's like we had caveats for Guild. Like, we expected them to be decent, but coming in, we're like, okay, 2 young players going into a tournament, trying to almost, I think it was Trex actually meeting some of his teammates because, like, actually getting to some of the boot camps and stuff have been difficult. All of these things come together, and you go, okay, maybe they can, like, do some damage, upset a team here and there. But to get out of the group in first, that was a different story.
I love how everyone at EMEA were hyping them up, but somehow they managed to exceed the hype.
They're still our 3rd best team. Like,
Yeah.
no matter how much
I do think that
them
the final playoff run that they had, where they lost to FPX, where they lost to Fnatic, definitely hurt them a lot. But they also learned from that in ways that we didn't expect. Like, they're adding maps to the pool in this event. They don't have a permaban. They're target banning specific things against their opponents that has made them really, really strong. They're playing unexpected things.
I mean, we talked about some of the heavy executes and the style of Paper X. And Tom, what about on the side of Guild?
I think this was they didn't even win this round, but they just had some really awesome things. I think Bala in the moment even said, did he just blast pack him into the nade? Like, it's such a small little detail that they're throwing through with every other piece of utility, but they clearly come into games incredibly well prepped, and even if you see them swap one agent or swap one little thing, there is always a reason. It's the complete opposite of Paper X, where there might be some like whimsy random, like, I like Raider, I'm going to play Raider. There's never that with Guild. It always is planned, and it's a complete clash of styles going into this match.
Yeah, I think that the 2 players that you're talking about, Leo and Trex, have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Leo is playing at an all-time level. He is literally better than, Chronicle, in a sense.
It's nuts.
0.95 KPR. That is something that is unheard of. That's almost better than, that's close to Berlin as well, 1.02. And then the guy on the other side, Trex, I know we're watching Leo right here, but I kind of feel bad for Trex because Leo's stealing the show, right? Trex is having the best performance as a duelist at this tournament. As a race.
He's #1 in ACS, ADR, he's #1 in assists per rounds, he's #5 in kills per round, #2 in cast. Like, pretty much every single stat, you're going to see him near the top, and like playing multiple different roles as well.
And this is a meta that's dominated by Chambers.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Artis is after him, right, on the ACS or whatever, but he's up there as a raise, and that's not something that has been happening in recent times. It didn't happen at Reykjavik, but it's happening here right now.
Yeah, and speaking of a Guild, Mimi is standing by right now, but the telestrator to break down some of the deeper things we've seen.
Thanks so much, Sue, and to the folks over on the desk. There was a round that I wanted to chat about here from Guild that's talking about how they react on the fly and how they really clear space in the mid-round. Because facing off against Paper X, let's be honest, Paper X is a team that controls the pace, so giving them something and retaking is going to be very important. This round is when Guild was playing against Optic on day 1 of this event, and as we let things start to go here, you'll notice that Optic is on a bit of a lesser buy. They're going to be trying to take some space close in towards mid. Here you see 3 players heading up that direction, 1 player on each extremity. But the team to focus on here is how Guild is holding this space. You'll notice there's a Cypher cam in towards the vents here, and there's Trex on the raise in close. You have Leo on the other side, and their whole plan is to just re-clear the space, give mid control, and react off the Cypher cam. As we see things through the cam holds and Victor is spotted. Leo immediately makes the reaction to rotate on over and be ready to take this fight and hold the space space in
Biar
vent. He
importnya
gives vents
makin
initially,
ini.
and then off contact with his teammates, Cam pops
Banyak
up,
yang
takes down
nonton.
Victor, and the reaction off of that is
Banyak
even
yang
better.
tahu.
Initially, they'll just be an aftershock to come through. That completely denies space in vent, and there's a slow field on the other side here that is slowed down by Ross. There's no way you can still be in vent, and there's no way you can go and push to trade a teammate that is in that position. And unfortunately for Optic, the spike is exactly what's in that position. You see Victor gets caught in this close corner, and for Guild, they realize there's a possibility of another player to be here, so they'll pop up the wall across all of this space and just push on through. And with so many players swinging into him, there's absolutely nothing Victor can do. You can see this again from Coldamenta's POV. Wall goes up, it blocks the space. Everyone is trapped. If there was one player, two players, however many from Optic here, they would be trapped, and it would be an advantageous fight for Guild because, again, there's 4 players here in a position to aid. And of course, that's the spike to fall on the floor. At that point, Optic really has no way back into the round. Marv will attempt to fight on through, but it's all done. Guild is excellent in those situations when their opponent sets the pace and shows them something. They're really good at adapting on the fly, coming up with a plan, and denying it, which is going to be incredibly important in their game against Paper Rex. Back over to you guys on the desk.
Thank you very much, Mimi, for that breakdown. A lovely set piece there, but I can't help but feel like Jing and Forsaken are just going to ignore that. They're just going to run at the aftershock. They don't care. They're not going to care about that.
Sit in the slow and just one tap Coldamenta.
That's the issue.
I do think that the matchup is interesting in that facet, the way that Mimi's talking about it, because Guild is a team that preps really well, and I think the only counter that I've been able to think of for Paper X is like, yeah, we know that they're doing it. Let's play slow. I talked about how that didn't work in the past. It's not what happened at Reykjavik when teams played really passive.
Udah live anjing di YouTube.
But I just don't think that if there's any team that I trust to be able to prep and counter Paper X, it's Guild in what they've shown us so far.
Ooh, Barlow. Ooh, I'm excited to see what they are going to bring to the preparation phase here. We're going to take a quick break here. Don't worry, guys. Stick with us, and we'll see you back here in a few.
Jam 10 ya.
Is your privacy protected? Websites can track you across the internet. Gue double ya.
muter video di 20.
Welcome back, everybody. Now, earlier we asked you guys to vote in our poll of the day, but Twitter, they were like, we cannot possibly choose between these 4 choices. It's way too difficult. So the website decided to go down.
So what you're basically saying is production decided that when I choose a poll question, it doesn't get run.
No, it's Twitter's fault. Blame Twitter.
Yeah.
So
Twitter.
it is very on brand of you, Tom, for you to come on the desk and just destroy all the technology.
Nothing I do ever no, so what I'm reading is it's actually Brent's Nan who won the poll.
Yes.
Nan.
Yes. 9%.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to put you guys on the spot here. I know you said earlier, Jing, that's the kind of person you went for, but you didn't give us an answer. So who do you actually think is going to...
Leo. I think Leo's going to pull off the craziest play because he's going to do it on an agent that won't make sense for him to make that play, and that's why it'll be even crazy.
Not
don't
Forsaken?
know what you just said.
No one's...
I was trying to follow the logic.
Oh, as in like...
Semua yang ada di sini.
Like Breach 1v5. That's what's going to come up.
Do we consider him getting like 4 shotgun kills in 1 round as even crazy at this point?
4 shotgun
kills.
I
just feel like Leo...
What do you mean?
Nonton di Twitch aja.
Yeah, but you can kill 2 people with 1 if they're both low, and then 2 with the other. I'm pretty sure Jonas has done it. I feel like that's the kind of thing he's done.
Yeah, but then he gets 0 kills for the rest of the game. So
yeah, that's it. Wait, Jonas? I thought you were flaming Leo.
No.
I was going to be like, Tom, you're on dangerous territory here.
No, Jonas.
Never. Not Leo. Blaspheme against
I
Leo.
do wonder what you mean by crazy, though. Do you mean crazy as like it's
all
not
headshots
doable?
Yeah.
Like 1v3 that he had yesterday.
Or even Marv's 1v3 was nasty.
Oh, who would you say has had the craziest
nggak
play
mau
so far?
mau nonton di Twitch sendiri.
I don't know. I feel like Xiao's 0.8 diffuse was pretty nasty. I think I'd go for that one.
Oh, I'm pretty sure we're going to get more today. And that is all from us for now in the pre-show. The group stage is over and playoffs is finally here. These are the best of the best, and it's time to see which team has what it takes to go the distance.
Kenapa tidak dimuntahkan? Bang Jale nanyain ke maen. Mau nobar dulu. Cepetan di Twitch kayaknya ya.
Gosh, there's none.
Copenhagen.
We definitely have a target on our back.
Ya, berarti
There's always gonna be people
keyboardnya
trying
kan
to
nggak jalan dong. Nggak masuk ke stats ya. Paling si Ben kan kalibrasi. Ya kalah dong gara-gara nggak satu stage.
Bang Aaron siapa? Main flick siapa?
Main.
BA itu Pulsar.
Oh, iya sih kayaknya.
We're here to dethrone the old gods.
Playoffs is when the tournament really begins.
Estén preparados para lo que viene. Estamos más fuertes que nunca.
The gods of VCT will fall.
Oh, tadi Liquid nggak ada scrim ya? Apa ada?
Be prepared to see the same amount of damage.
Emang ada Liquid?
Tadi
itu bajunya
Leviathan, cok.
Emang? Oh, kirain Liquid kan. Putih kan?
Ya.
When you hear the name Fnatic, you know exactly what that means.
Nggak lolos.
Fanatik ya dulu ya.
Fanatik FX sama gue.
Iya kan. MEA.
Boosters ini banget ya, cocok jadi ininya. Entertaining. Entertaining.
Conor McGregor.
Mukanya, Cok.
I like the variation of the thrones. You were a fan of the grass one.
The grass one?
Yeah.
Def was sitting on? That was sick. That was so cool out in the park.
Who's the throne designer? That's what I want to know. who's getting all the plaudits for that? No, awesome video as always. I think every time I hear Angel say anything in these videos, I'm always a little bit more scared of him.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but you know that like what he's saying could come true, like because he's saying it. Yeah. One thing I will say is that that trailer is the first time we saw all of the teams here now, right, left. The 4 teams we haven't seen so far. So that is really exciting to think that essentially on paper we haven't even seen the best teams play.
It could be, yeah. It 100% could be. I think at this point we're like completely refreshed, right? We said our group stage pick'ems were out the window, but now the bracket stage starts and we can start anew.
Those can go out the window as well soon.
Those are going to go out the window too.
I mean, I think I'll bring it back to this match for now. Let's take a look at the map select for today.
Kayak apa kan tanya mana? Ntar buat kerincut. Masih dulu. Aja. Orang bukan kesana.
Now, we haven't seen Paper Rex play yet, so talk
Veto
me
map apa
through
cuy? Veto
you
map.
guys about their map pool, what we can expect from them.
Ini cuma gini ya,
I
kalau
feel like
gramnya.
with Paper X, there's always going to be a
Kayak
big
lain.
I don't think you want to play Bind or Fracture versus them, really. They're incredible at both of those maps, but the only one they don't really play is Split. Well, they play a bit and it didn't go great.
Yeah, I mean, that's a map that they were really good at on Reykjavik, but that double duelist comp that they ran back then, a little difficult to still maintain in this meta. Guild is also been very, very reactive with their bans. That you broke down earlier.
Yeah, Fracture. Like you said, Tom, pick your poison. Do you feel like this was the right poison?
I think maybe the better of the two. I think playing against their Yoru is really difficult and something you'd specifically have to prep against. I don't think their composition on Fracture's crazy, but they are crazy with the way that they play it.
Yeah, I kind of disagree. I think their composition on Fracture is insane. They have neon rays and then Viper only. Like,
yeah, I guess.
That is wild in comparison to what you're used to seeing with the standard. Obviously, PRX, you're always going to get unstandard. I kind of am, I don't know, Guild kind of win this veto to me, just barely, because they're playing maps that they're really leaning on at this tournament only recently. So there's not a lot to have prepped for before, and it's something that they've had success. And Paper Rex, I think those are some of the, outside of Fracture, that's their kind of bread and butter with the comp, kind of the style that they're always going to go for, someplace where you can be surprised by the pace. Outside of that, Ascent is not necessarily a map that they're going anything crazy on. An Icebox, I mean, they do play Jet Chamber, but that's standard as all can be.
Whatever happens, I hope we get 3 maps. I just want as many rounds as possible with these 2 teams. We are going to take a quick break here, but don't worry, Agent Select is on the way. I cannot fit in the boxes. Stop it. Quitting was never an option. And you cannot stop it. You cannot stop it. Well, it's been a couple of months since we've seen a Benkai walkout. The good news is him and the rest of Paper X are standing by, ready to take on Guild.
Benkai ini kayak si Boster.
Kita lihat. Nah kan?
Apa itu anjing?
Dino.
Mukanya tapi datar anjing. Suara UC 1000.
Ya, per second nggak ada.
Kok nggak ada si Jadon?
Komplit. Ada dibawain foto sama si Jing.
Guild have been absolutely phenomenal so far in this tournament, but the question is, have they finally met their match in Paper X today? And yeah, it's great to see Forsaken kind of making it on stage. I saw a picture of him, but also the dinosaur costume. I'm sure there's a story behind this. There is a story.
I think they lost their luggage again, so it's just whatever he could get from the costume store. That's what he's been wearing all day.
Gimana cuy, nggak ada suaranya?
But yeah, like I said, do you guys feel like Tom, Guild maybe meeting their match today? Maybe today's the day they drop a series?
It's going to be interesting because I think especially into map 1, if I'm not mistaken, they haven't actually played it since the group stage where they play versus BBL. So chances are the comp that they're going to be running is nothing that will have ever been seen before by their
keyboardnya terang banget.
Yeah.
And they've done a couple different role swaps to, for example, Russ get off some of the agents that he's played and move more towards the Sage on a lot of instances. So it's a hard sell, though, for me to, you know, try to say Paper X is going to be their biggest match yet because they already played
Europe.
They already played Crew. They already played a team that beat Loud, essentially. So it's a really hard sell. But now that we're in playoffs, like I said, we reset. Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, I think so. I think we do reset. And in terms of the team compositions, like you guys said, this was also pre-Fade days for Guild. They didn't play Fade for the longest time. Yeah. Tom and Barley, do you guys feel like we might get the Fade out of them? Is that a good idea here for them today?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think an awful lot of teams are running Fade on this map at the moment. I think it really works for teams especially. I think FPX have proven how good that agent really can be.
Yeah, I think a lot of the teams in the EU have really shown that Fade, the Fade Raze comps that they're playing on that map are phenomenal, and they have the pieces to do it, right? Trex is a great Raze no matter what map he's on, so don't put him on that Killjoy, which is what they used to be playing him on, and let's see some of that Fade Raze stuff.
And what about the Chamber? Because again, Safe was on Jet for the longest time.
His Chamber is nasty. I would be really surprised if he's not going to run it. Just if you're going to change the rest of the comp, I'd be gobsmacked if they keep running the Jet.
Yeah,
nih kameranya ke guild mulu.
Also, I don't mind the Jet on this map. It's very playable.
I think so too.
Orang kabel, Zigen apa gitu.
They've had a great run on this map in terms of domestic, but obviously the last time we saw them play internationally didn't go super well for them. They ended up losing, and of course it's a different comp now for them as well, but they're sticking with the Astra.
Yeah, I think again,
Zigen apa gitu.
With Jing, like we even saw one of the plays that they made earlier on where
ini keyboardnya jelek dia. Coachnya.
Jing is always going to want to run in, and then you almost.
Kok nggak HyperX ya? Kan baru sponsornya HyperX.
Which is weird because on every other map that's not the case, but I think on this map that's actually what they do. They have him as almost just like holding portions of the map out, and he will catch you if you try and rotate.
Yeah, if it slows down like that, it's very difficult for a Chamber to get in that front of line type of play, and I think that's why most maps they're actually running Benkai
Artisan
on the Chamber. It's really interesting to see how this is going to play out because Guild we haven't seen, and Paper X is one that's unstandard for them to play because of the way.
Oh ini dongle wirelessnya Ki kayaknya.
They want to lean into Jet. that still with Forsaken.
Maksud apa itu ya? Bulat dongle.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Paper X changes things up as well. We can't just look at that history and say they're going to come in with it, because we have seen Yoru play on this map.
Jing tadi ya, Ki.
I also saw the potential ideas that they run on Bind, for example, to work really well on this map.
Wouldn't that be a spanner though, knowing that like, oh Guild, they've had time to prep for us. We're just gonna make sure to make you throw everything out the window, which will be a very Paper X way to do it.
Artisan, kebanyakan artisan anjir Ki.
Forsaken is not on stage right now. He is playing off site. I
know you guys raised some
issues in terms of synergy, but as we head into the Prime Gaming Agent Select, he's fortunately probably going to be running on the chamber. So does that?
I'm gonna wait and see. Like, I feel like we always talk about like they could be doing this, but until it actually comes through, I think about it. But yeah,
Safe has moved over. Like
already some of the changes. Actually, the Astra coming through might actually be just to try and match up on the
other
side. This is something that happens quite regularly. Is the Guild try and match the comp that is being run on the other side and just try and do it better.
Yeah, this is a completely new look for Guild. What do you?
Aiki beli artisan Ki.
They mirror match.
100%. This is good. I mean, we were just.
Mouse-nya pakai mouse fotokopi cok.
They've shown so far here at Copenhagen. This leads directly into it. This
leads artisan.
One of the highest played and good raises at the tournament. This also continues to give Leo a lot of space to support his team, but be a monster on his own.
Yeah.
Well, this is it. It's time to see what Paper X and Guild can bring in the playoff stage of Valorant Masters Copenhagen. I'm going to send this up to your casters for the game. It is Sideshow and Bren.
Thank you very much, Sue and the desk crew.
Thank you very much.
Let's get this one underway. It's the beginning of the playoffs, finally in Copenhagen.
Oh,
and the turning point.
Estera Bren
the entire tournament overall. This is where the pressure
starts
all starts to get online. Even though there was a low bracket, you know, there's some part of a buffer,
but this is where the big teams, the #1 seeds, the teams like Paper X, who earned their spot in the playoffs before the tournament even began, that's where they start to come in, and we get a test for these group stage phenoms like Guild. Because sure, you can run through the groups, and sure, you might even be able to beat the defending champion, but can you keep that streak? Can you keep that form going? I think one thing they've got in their back pocket here as they start on Defense Guild is that there is no way you would know what composition they were going to run here. They have brought a new comp to every map, and Safe starts things off.
Yeah, off the riff. You already see it. Kills coming through.
Off
to a fantastic start. Just a bit of pressure being applied into mid, but Mindfreak okay. Just looks his way over there. Star now going to be activated. Smoke popped off, trying to create a bit of space, and Paper X already into the site. Bit of a denial of space with that fragment nade up onto heaven.
Ayo di buff itu, jadi lebar banget itu.
Playing this one for retake, allowing Paper X in, and then they're going to collapse on top of them.
Spikes got down. Guild been playing for their retakes over and over and over again so far in this event, but now
temennya kena flash cok.
He's going to start to come
2 orang.
into the flash, try and get themselves out onto the site. Smoked off on main. Paper X might have to start making a play here.
Here comes Mindfreak, back behind. He went on the long flank all the way around through mid.
Pop flash play. The timing needs to be impeccable here. Mindfreak's coming through. Do they even know he's here?
Benkai.
The pick still a 2v2.5 on the defuse.
Nice.
How does Benkai find that one?
Winnable.
Not allowed the luxury of just trying to stick that one through. The pistol round going away of Paper X.
Incredible performance from Paper X to drag that one back, and what a decision from Mindfreak. He pushed out through tree, went all the way down mid and wrapped around heaven, and I was looking at that on the minimap, Brendan, and I thought, there's no way he has enough time. There is simply no way. And yet the rest of Paper X flashing through the smoke, applying bought time for Mindfreak, who also opened things up through tree in the first place.
Yeah.
And the pistol round, Brent, is going to be a small little sample of what you've got for the entirety of this series. Guild have come into this tournament with a brand new strategy, which is to play retake, retake, retake. On their defense side, they are playing 75% of the time for retake. And as Paper X barrel their way, the Trex goes down. This doesn't look like Guild are going to be able to do too much here with pistols in their hands.
Yeah, decent damage done, but not going to be afforded any of those Spectres that would drop down to the ground. This really is a battle, and I say Paper X, such an aggressive team. The executes of the crazy compositions, I mean, Desk was highlighting it over and over and over again. They really do feel like sometimes that unstoppable object. Yeah. Guild can play so slow, sometimes they are just immovable.
It is. It is the definition of that kind of matchup, the fast v slow. I think this one's going to be the bull against the matador. in this sense, and we'll see whether the Matador ends up getting gored at the end of this. Because Paper Rex are going to charge into sites, play aggressive. They get most of their kills in the first 10 seconds of the round, and they tend to plant within 20. That is rapid. No one else in the tournament plays like that. And like I said, Guild are going to try and just tire them out.
Any other analogies you want to use for this one? Run through the I mean, I didn't write too many down before this one, but...
Paper Rex, though, fantastic team. And they've got off to a good start here. And Guild, of course, are going to have opportunities to turn this one around now that they have rifles back in their hands.
That's right. It's the important factor now coming into this round.
Dia nggak di-boost temen-temennya, Cok.
Situation for Guild going to be getting that buy online. Just deciding where they want to be playing this one in terms of the defensive setup. You can see that knife's going to be sent into A main. Bit of information going to be gained for Russ. Assuming it's not destroyed. Backs away. Safe has worked his way into
nggak dicek.
Yeah, that's off the back of the knife.
Tapi cabut ke B.
Side, they're unlikely to step into that defensive 0 point. And so it buys a timing for Safe to slip his way in. Paper Rex, though, so quick after making a little bit of noise in A main, they're back over into B.
Line up,
and it looks like they're going for the hit already.
Yeah, the Horn straight over the top actually finds its way onto the site. As well, just trying to anchor and lock this one down. What a transfer! Trex finding two, you've got to be joking. And it looks like Guild have got this more than on lock. All up to Mindfreak with only the Bulldog.
He found a pick on Russ, who was trying to help the rest of his players by sprinting through Catwalk. Mindfreak already living up to his role as the lurker on Paper Rex. But this would be a pretty monumental clutch.
Yeah, everything against him here. Door closed, spikes dropped, there's only so many angles can come from the jiggle. Peek.
A little strange by Coldamenta there.
Yeah, now they know. See what's happening here. Trying to peek off.
Flexible.
Prowler, do not give him as many opportunities.
Oh,
that
was close.
Barely squeaked out by Safe.
What a way that would have been.
Holy.
For Paper Rex to go up 3-0, but it's not quite there. Mindfreak 5-on-1 can't quite close that one out. And it was a great job by Coldamenta to anchor the site and stop Paper Rex from getting through the front door.
Decision being made there.
Anjay, miskom bocil batu, miskom. Miskom tuh apa sih, Bang? Alah, pura-pura. Dan lah, Odin siapa itu?
They wanted to try and get back into this one. Coldamenta's only working with the judge.
You say only, but he's tucked up close to A main here in a position where he could do tons of damage.
Yeah, this is where it really shines, isn't it? For the smokes in the way, but already right around the side shows
Dalam smoke, ya.
Magic, but short work. Coldamenta just trying to hold down that choke point, only finding the one. Paper Rex. Can he control the site? Good one. Oh boy, that's going to be spotting you Forsaken. Might have to dip out.
That's rough. I mean, he is walled off here. He manages to get his rendezvous down and teleport away. But on the other side of things, Jing's gone aggressive without anybody to support. And those are the moments that Guild are going to relish.
That's going to be the Nightfall used aggressively.
Amankan.
Swinging into this one, one kill found in the players of Guild. No sound cues, no knowledge. Just have to use their eyes, see if they can jump spot. Anything at all. Leo as well is going to use that prowl. Let's see if he can clear a corner, but at this point, Safe positioning so far back. Are they just looking to save?
Kenapa tiba-tiba beli Odin ya?
Safe has a rifle. Leo just now acquiring one. So I think that's the silver lining. Paper Rex Forsaken. Not going to let him get away with this.
I think Leo spotted it. Yeah, the ping was there. He knows the Forsaken's hunting him. They've got to know he's in market, but I mean, he wants these guns to see the angle.
Tangan kiri. Tangan kiri.
Yeah, potentially.
Overall, though, look at how that round played out. Paper Rex got into the site, and unfortunately, Coldamenta wasn't able to get more than one with the judge.
Tangan
Great
kiri,
trade from
Cok.
Benkai. But in the post-plant, Paper Rex are going to continue to push. And Guild haven't played against a team like that this tournament. No. They've played against teams that take the site and then they hold. You know, a gentlemanly...
Kalau nggak ngeklik sama sekali si Jadon.
But Paper Rex are going to fight you. They're not going to allow Guild to group up and play for these perfect retakes. And that is why Paper Rex have been winning over 80% of their post-plants in APAC. They never let their opponents get comfortable.
They are monsters in that capacity.
So even while it seems like a great idea, yeah, play for the retake, allow Paper Rex to use all their util, might not work in practice.
A week goodbye, obviously, so Coldamenta gets some
Apa sih itu?
information
Baki ya?
with his life.
Oh enggak. Klasik.
There was a season play, but what he stacks over here, yeah, Forsaken has worked his way incredibly deep onto the upside.
And already PaperX have conditioned Guild to over-rotate.
Kenapa
And
dia,
they're
Cok?
already abusing it, with Forsaken working his way through.
Ditarik kayaknya ya?
Oh, no. You might think this
Aduh.
a little bit too much, perhaps, pushing all the way into spawn and donating a Vandal. I love the idea of Forsaken
Donating a Vandal.
But that was a little too much.
Kelihatan gak sih? Aaron? Oh enggak.
Hold the space there. Guild are so fast onto this one, already taking all the space, pushing past the Cosmic Divide. They're not content with just sitting back and waiting for it, but there's so much time on the clock.
Sudah apa ya robot koyo?
What's another rotation?
And Mind Freak pushed past his own Cosmic Divide to hear the rotates through spawn. So he knew 3 players had come over to B, and he gives the info to the team. Go away, run
back and forth, and Trex, well, caught with the rotation.
Wih, dapat.
Left standing and safe.
Wih.
Can't deny the plan.
No wih pula. Low sense tuh.
Dia main ke bawah, Cok.
Low sense juga jadi susah muter.
Just this game of cat and mouse.
Yeah, awesome rotates around the map by PaperX. I do think that was a bit of an overextension from Forsaken.
Anjir, si Jing main reso berapa? Kayak burik banget tapi stretchnya.
Pressure to force defensive rotates and then lurking. And at the beginning of the round, Forsaken was the one
paling bawah dia kayaknya tuh.
In the middle of the round, it was Mind Freak that opened up the middle of the map, got information, and allowed them to go in.
Oh.
Great decision
Resonya paling bawah.
PaperX. Something that they've massively improved since Iceland, and they finished 4th in Iceland.
They only look stronger, don't they? Still no slouches, of course. They've been showcasing, I think, that they've certainly leveled up coming through the group stage. They've defeated many an opponent, but up against PaperX, you can see the hits going to start to come through with an old command, another double satchel play. Trademark's going to be triggered off to the side, but Jing's already deep into hell.
The fast push from Coldamenta up, and Mind Freak's waiting for it.
Dapat lagi.
Gets a little too aggressive on this one. He will
surely
be punished.
Nggak dicek.
No way, man! He just catches the awful timing. Unfortunate for Coldamenta, but the team that they still want to fight for this kill. Only 3 players left standing against the 5 of them, and this crossfire is brutal to try and work your way into. So much to try and deal with. The Haunt will tag and latch itself onto 2 targets. Reveals the information, but there's just not enough bodies for Guild. They just can't contend with this.
Not at all. And all of these retake attempts have been stopped before Guild can even set up. Safe though, finding 2. It's back, but there's no time. Leo's already bailed out. And it's going to be a 5th on the board for PaperX. Their way of getting into the sites is clean, but Guild are allowing them to do that. Guild want to play for retake. And the real fight in this map is coming down to what happens in the post plant. And it's PaperX being able to find
the post plant,
to throw aggression in there. And I just want to emphasize again how good Guild are this tournament so far with their retake strategy. They've been playing retake 3/4 of the time, which is absurd. I've never seen a team do that.
What's the average?
The average, okay, for the teams that play retake the most, Bren, we're talking about teams like Fnatic. They play about 65% of the time. 75% of the time is another wave on top of them. And then the best teams in the world for retakes will be winning about 1/3 of the time.
Right.
Guild are winning 45% of the time. If you take that win condition away from Guild, if PaperX are able to win their post plants and they're being allowed to get into post plants for free or with little resistance, this is going to spell devastation for Guild on their map pick.
Yeah, they're going to have to find a way around this with an adaptation. Obviously, that's why the timeout's called.
And what is the adaptation? Do you try and lean into your strengths and set up quicker for the retakes? Or do you try and stop them from getting into the site? I think this is going to be a real challenge for Coldamenta to get to grips with this team. There is no one in the tournament who plays like PaperX.
This composition that they are playing, it's pretty effective, I think, in denying the post plants in the first place. You have a lot of tools to work with.
Absolutely.
You got the pulls, you got the C's, the nade. So much at your disposal if you want to try and slow down a lot of those hits, but it comes down to that mentality shift, I suppose, but that adaptation. Do you change up the way you've been playing this entire tournament so far?
It's possible. We've seen a brand new Guild at this event, playing new comps, playing new maps. It does look almost like a different team. And Leo and Trex are playing like advanced versions of themselves, but haven't quite got going yet in the map. They've never been able to take comfortable fights. And so here again, we see the same kind of thing coming out from PaperX. On the anti-eco, they throw early utility over towards A main, and they're grouping up at B. Trying to make it seem like a default, when in fact all 5 players are at tiles.
Tidak jadon.
Look at Leo holding up utility. Is it going to be able to be comboed with anything though? There's a flash to try and re-clear into B main. Smoke dropped off. Tournament's playing inside of it. The Boombot revealed his exact location. Spam down. And again, that push and pull of rotations. The half by Ryan. I mean, Leo's working with the rifle. Safe does have that tour de force. You can see the discipline is there from Paper-X, making sure that they jiggle these angles. They don't want to be caught unaware.
Looking like they want to go for a B split here. There's going to be 3 players ready to receive. But no great equipment on anybody other than Leo. He's got to be the star right now for Guild if they want a chance in this eco round.
Forsaken just chatting out of control, honestly, just barreling his way through. Now a bit of contact play, but he runs his way in. Showstopper as well, that was in action. I believe Jing in mid. Doesn't really get too much done with it still. It's all up to Leo. Does have the rifle, but the spam through that Odin. The wall pen. Leo's caught. What's up to say? I mean, I've seen some just absolutely absurd stuff from various chamber players. This would be on another level.
Parah anjing si Dapai.
Belum mati ya?
Belum. Menjaga Odin ya. Tuh tangan kiri si Jadon.
If you haven't been following APAC, if you only tune in for the big global events, you will still see the same glimpses of Forsaken and Jing running in, taking duels, the creative, aggressive, hyper-confident plays. But what you need to appreciate now is that Mindfreak, Divine, Benkai have gotten so much tighter at supporting them. The trades, the discipline, the macro game is all there. Are we going to see an aggressive play out of Guild this round? They have Safe and Trex playing up towards mid, almost looking to pick a fight.
Nih biar nggak ini ada Benkai. Oh, timing.
But luckily, the killer's there. Benkai falling. It's going to throw a wrench into the plans of Paper-X, but it looks like they might not want to slow down. All the players grouping up towards B main. That's going to be the C's tagging to the player. Recommitting this utility now. You can see them starting to swarm into the site, but they were not ready. What an outplay!
Jing ini nggak ketahuan.
As well, that Showstopper putting in good work. Down to the 2v3. Jing locked away in market. Do they know about this slight off angle of the elevation? Heads being found.
Jing di lock sayap cu.
Still 54 seconds left, but Safe. Beautiful work with the operator.
Clutchable.
Perfectly there, not allowing himself to get caught out on sight. Repositions and punishes Jing. Mindfreak has been a clutch monster though.
Lagi.
You've got to be kidding.
Ya kayaknya mentalnya kebentuk di tes juga ya.
This team is so insane in the clutch.
Hope nggak diambil, yang diambil Odin kok.
He's 10-4 right now.
Odin new meta.
Naik anjir pada
The janitor is in session.
Crosshair placement here as well, it's just immaculate.
It's so good.
We'll see it at the end of this, but it's as well, I mean, avoiding the position of being played as well, just in case they pop flash through, which they did.
Iki anjir, Ki kayak Lucky kobokan.
And he's holding wide on the swing.
And just hard reading that second player is going to come by. Paper-X,
dibanting kulkasnya Ki.
most clutch team we have in the tournament, and I think you're seeing it. A lot of that actually usually comes from Forsaken, but the rest of the team is also
nongolnya hiji-hiji.
It's quite the task as well. Safe so far this tournament has been putting up
dapat.
highest percentage.
Ya. Chill.
Still willing to take this.
Tahu tuh. Awas sakit.
Vandal in his back pocket.
Odin gancok.
Just seeing all of it come together to lay.
Saya be like, Cok, si Davai lagi ngasih tahu saya be like Odin.
Any angles that the rest of the team they can't get to, don't worry, the device will be there.
Kontrol ya benar.
And look at this aggression already, never allowing Guild to set up for a
Whiff dulu.
They're pushing him.
I mean, this is so outlandish.
They're slapping him around.
Perasaan si Kolda Menta pas lawan apa tuh? Sakit aimnya dia. Ada gue nonton pas yang pertama iya kalau nggak.
Optik atau Pro.
Gak tahu. Gue lihat yang paling mencolok Kolda Menta.
But it's just, I mean, Paper-X making a mockery of the numbers, throwing them out the window, shredding them up.
Tidak OP lagi. Anjas, dapat. Dem, wih, nggak ada yang kena juga dua-duanya.
attack round. Mindfree, you can see him just wants to claim a bit of the space up. Russ just peeking for the information, but he's opened himself up. Forsaken capitalizing.
Getting answers.
Kayaknya.
And Russ goes down first.
Oh.
Excellent reply from Safe and a fake into A with the Cosmic Divide, and it forces Leo's ultimate out. There's
Leo.
nobody there.
Showstopper as well on top. I mean, this should really sell it. 3 players still locked around, but Guild, they've got to recognize at this point, though, no players have worked their way in. Still, the Cosmic Divide, it cut off a lot of the sound.
Oh, di press nih OP-nya nih.
Alone onto the site. Does still have the operator. One quick scope. Horn's got to get destroyed, though, and now his positioning is known and just spammed. From afar, the Odin's still in play. Divide takes care of him easily enough. A bit of a satchel play. The fast on the approach. Trex and Leo, dynamic duo. Finally, they're finding.
Get the second.
It takes them a while. Round 10 before Guild have a response. But it is that duo of Leo and Trex. Fast on the retake, finding their form, punishing Jing.
Lagi lihat map itu, takut dibokong.
Early in the round to have that instant reply to take things back down to a 4v4. And also the quick scope on the player that was pushing him at market. It's a great round from Safe. This kill in particular, reacting to Mindfreak pushing the smoke, could have got very dangerous.
It's so hard as well. He's under an immense amount of pressure with a horde coming over the top as well. All the utilities trying to get him out of angles. Yeah, he dies at the end. The fact he even gets the one there is quite astounding.
He's been the only player actually able to do too much when these hits have been coming through. I think part of the reason is that he has the ability to reposition so well, just by virtue of the agent he's playing. Can Guild recover the half? 4 would be the bare minimum to have any sort of comeback.
Permanent smoke popped off here. Safe is in a deeper
Didaro trap.
Look at that. Trademark was actually placed deep into mid there by Forsaken to try and clear out of the smoke. That was inside of it. It's got to be respected as well. As soon as the null command is popped off. Device side. Russ also going to be answering with one of his own. So, suppression across the board. No abilities really going to be
Here's the lurk. Here's the lurk. They've managed to get into the B site because the chamber trademark was turned off from Safe.
And Russ, what perfect, impeccable timing for him to take that fight into mid. 2 kills going to be claimed. He's helped out his team, but are they ready once more? Forsaken. He's taken all that space.
Timing. Oh, dikasih tahu tuh.
He's a lockdown market. The spam is there. It's all up to Benkai. It is all over the place. Spike was
Clutchable.
Is controlled. Regain, Coldventure and Leo now playing together, making sure they don't give Benkai any openings.
He's going to get his horn back in a couple of seconds. But Leon Coldamenta should be good for this one. Playing together, they now know the position.
Very difficult task for Benkai. The haunt shot by both the players. Will note it there. Around the side and with the Prowler to guide him. Not enough. Leo will easily manage that threat.
Aku nembakin lele tadi.
Paper X using their KO ultimate, not for a sight hit necessarily, but to go on a 4-1 split. 4 players pushing towards Catwalk, and as Safe got suppressed, his trademark stops being active over a B, and Forsaken takes that area of the map for them to rotate back to B. It's a bit of a, it's a 2-pronged attack. Either they get through Catwalk, or they can return back to B. But I really appreciate the way that Coldamenta and Leo dealt with it. Reading the play, rotating back, and Russ did well in mid.
Absolutely. Flash over the top. Looks like an aggressive play from Guild. They're going to try and
TP-nya sebelahnya.
Decent amount of utility to see if they can get anything, and Safe was posted up into that wine angle. Sidestep, dodges the C's, but the horn in his face has to break that. Positioning is known.
Here's Forsaken again on the lurk. Take a look at the minimap. He's just taken the B site for them, and this becomes a fake. What was an A site hit becomes a fake off the back of the lurk play.
He overextended last time, and now he's going to be facing just the firing squad.
These ideas are so good, but they just can't help but push. This is the double-edged sword you get with Forsaken and Jing sometimes, where he's just done everything he needs to in the round by securing the B site. It just needs to play to contain and stop Guild coming back in, and instead delivers himself up on a silver platter. And now Guild get to reset their defensive positions, and it should be a much more difficult round for Paper X to win.
Yeah, they've expended so much of their tool kill already just to try and get into the A site initially, so not a lot to work off, including losing those 2 players. And look at this. Just a jiggle peek slightly, spotting the player. That's going to be the nade to try and deny that lane positioning. And
they just walked in
as well. They have
Anjir.
past Mindfree. He's caught the angle. Russ will fall. Don't let this get dangerous now, Guild. Got an advantage here in the back of the site. Haunt is going to have to get destroyed, but they have to hold this down with only 13 seconds remaining. The spike, it can be denied right through the box, and Trex knows where to spam. It's out. 8-4 is going to be the half.
It's a great recovery from Guild. The fact that they were down 7-1, 8-4 looks much more respectable with those final 3 rounds. But that's on defense side of Ascent. The side that they've picked, the map, or rather the map that they've picked on their favored side, that's a pretty brutal beginning to this series.
Yeah, and the question is, how do they continue this on the other side of things? Alice, is going to break down the initial half, though, and we'll return to the action momentarily.
Thank you very much, Bren and Sideshow. Paper X, they're here, and they're not here to mess around. They're here to win.
Yeah, no, they're into the sights within the first few seconds, and even when they are, sometimes you've got Forsaken's disgusting lurks that may have went a little bit overboard every once in a while, but it is ridiculous how much space they were taking.
It's crazy the amount that it was catching Guild off guard in the beginning of that half, right? Towards the end, they started expecting it. They started having multiple players, even in that last round. They're just looking at Forsaken as he flanks through B. Those are the types of things that actually really made Guild struggle to find any space to read exactly how they're playing. This round right here, Paper Rex with a nasty nade seize combo that catches Russ, and then they go ring around the rows of the entire map. This Astral Divide, they rotate back towards B after a Forsaken flank through mid, and then they get another rotation back through. Mindfreak smokes off the trip, finds another pick, and the round is over. That stuff is so difficult to deal with when you're Guild and you're trying to set up phase raid combos of your own.
Yeah, I think a lot of it as well comes down to, firstly, you've got the fact that Benkai calling a great game, but also Mindfreak, just his positioning as well. But we've got that head-to-head. The main reason I wanted to bring this up, though, is more so that I think going into the second half, we have to highlight Trex. I think he's someone that can have a high amount of impact. I think a lot of the time the executions from Guild are incredible, but he is that mantle. If he's having a bad game on this second half, it's done.
Yeah, I also, that defensive side for him, it's really difficult to place the utility in the specific spots when Paper Rex is all over the map. I think the guy who led the team for Guild, who led the comeback at least to get 4 rounds, which is really difficult still going into the second half, is safe, and he's still going to have massive impact because the op is what's going to carry the weight against people who are pushing you every single round.
Well, it's Paper X. It's all Paper X right now. They're dictating the pace. Like Tom and Bala said, some of the players on the side of Guild, they have to step up as we head into the second half. Sideshow and Bren, take us away.
Thank you very much, Sue. Yes, let's get right back into it. The second half of things. Guild's map pick of Ascent currently down in terms of the rounds, but the pistol round, a great opportunity, I think, for them to turn their fate around so far.
They're going to be banking on winning the pistol, winning the bonus, getting back into this game quickly, I think.
Yeah.
And when you're comparing the styles of these two teams, whereas Paper X were into the sites within the first 10, 20 seconds looking for the plant, Guild are normally slower, more conserved, patient, attempting to punish, but this time, barreling in early.
They've been cut off, though, the fragment nade and a spam. Mindfreak, he's handed an easy one. Player into the site, though. Space is going to be gained. Trex needs to do something, at least hold the crossfire. Look at all the damage that's being done. But the spike for Guild now. Russ is going to be just committing to that one, so the post-plant situation is in their hands. How do they lock this one down, though? A bit of miscoordination there. Flash over the top. Safe actually gets caught by it. The Haunt as well. A lot of positioning revealed. And players are sorting on the side, but they just don't anticipate Leo on the bullets in the clip. The frenzy not enough for him. In fact, Benkai is the one who gets 2 of them still. Russ, what can he do? Only the Ghost. So much pressure, but the reload in play. And Benkai with 4.
It's a fantastic pistol round retake for Paper X, and potentially a death blow for Guild. They'll be wondering whether or not to force into the next, but for a moment, let's just consider how good that was from Paper X's side. They went fast with 3 players through mid to B main, and this ruins most of your post-plant positioning. You want to hold players like Leo in that Logs position and have someone to play off at lane. When you're getting pushed from CT and B main at the same time by a ton of players, you just can't hold those level of crossfires. They had to abandon Leo. Guild are now
ada voice-nya ini. Bocor, Dava ya?
Dava. 3 Spectres. They'll be discussing things with Barbar to cook up some kind of strategy for this next round.
It's important that they don't let the opportunity slip away from them.
honestly, I think that from PaperX's point of view, you could predict pretty confidently that Guild are going to go for this force. They got the spike down, they got a couple of kills, they're taking a timeout. Yeah.
When you're down this many rounds, you need to try and turn the tide of it somehow. And they open up. I mean, Guild with the faster play, it's something that typically they're no strangers to just letting the round play out a little bit, the time tick down, absorbing any potential aggression. They were fast in that round, and it was shut down pretty heavily by the PaperX response.
Guild actually like to mix in a lot of different pace of
a bit of conditioning maybe for the slow and then mix in a fast play.
Yeah, they do occasionally have some fast rounds like PaperX, but mostly they're going to be going for mid to late round hits into sites.
Guild need to place higher than Fnatic in the tournament to secure champion qualification.
There is a three-way battle occurring between the three MEA teams. And honestly, Guild were on the outside looking in, but their performance so far in the tournament has turned a lot of us into believers.
Especially good. An early play by
Lebar banget anjir itunya kayu. Bola-bola.
But Guild, they take it in a different direction. It's mid. It's the name of the game for them. Tricks and safe, making sure that they can hold those off angles, but Forsaken with a judge. When do you ever anticipate this? Right up close and personal. It's a pop flash play. Russ was ready and waiting. Potentially in the flash position, but already Forsaken getting value out of it. Haunt up close and personal, and a TP behind. What? Forsaken, you are an absolute maniac. 4 kills.
Jadulnya tele ke market. Musuhnya di market semua. Disangkanya temen. Mau ditembak sama main freak tadi.
That is a backbreaker for a round. Not only does he win
lihat nih. Lihat telenya.
Taking down these players, but then he goes for the top back in behind.
Oh iya.
I mean, obviously they're just like, well, okay.
Oh, ditembak sama si siapa sih tadi? Aaron bukan sih ya kan? Yang depan market.
Baba has
main free kan?
Heart attack.
Astranya.
This tournament. And I'm sure this can't be good for him. Watching Guild slowly slip away in this one. A thrifty round would be fantastic here.
Woi, mundur Jadon, bentar lagi habis smoke.
Back into Guild. Forsaken for a moment there looked like he wanted to challenge aggressively over on Cat. Look how fast PaperX are to just abandon extremities once they realize that Guild aren't doing anything fast and look towards the middle of the map. They currently have 3 players looking to fight that area. And A is only being held by, you know, the barest shred of utility.
Not too sure what the play would be here. I mean, it is just a bit of poking and prodding. And Guild have realized they need that mid-control. They can't just send everybody through the choke point onto A. With a trademark, I think, is going to trigger some sort of play off of it.
There's a haunt from Benkai that clears out B, so they're pretty confident it's not going to be a B hit anytime soon.
Jadon!
Mindfreak can see down mid.
Taking in a lot of trouble. How is he just disrespecting them here? Doesn't choose to teleport away, but
baiknya di short. Tenang coy, ini Jing. Jing pakai duelisnya pede banget ya.
Bebannya juga bagus soalnya.
Maju-majunya kayak ya udah gitu.
A decent idea by Guild playing the map a little bit and poking out, feeling out where PaperX are going to be playing. But just not quite enough.
Yeah, not quite enough.
Okay.
You can see just how in sync
that
duo of Forsaken and Jing just are overall. These guys are just dominant.
And it's about to get more dangerous because Forsaken has an operator in his hands. Divide picking up the Odin, with which he did tons of work. And there goes Russ immediately. First death.
Jiggle si Russ.
It was just being pre-aimed by Forsaken.
Ih, judge cok disimpan di situ. Depan Benkai.
As well on Ascent. Mostly been playing Sage so far this tournament, but goes back into his more usual initiator role and just getting bullied.
Yeah.
Masuk mid call Menta. Ah, nggak jadi. Dapat lagi. Tuh, pede banget anjir.
Aku jadi Jing ah. Wait.
Doesn't matter.
Anjir. No scared cuy dia.
He doesn't need his health. He doesn't need his ears. He'll just shoot you.
He'll just shoot you.
Remember, this is the player that goes for Reina on Haven. He is perfectly happy taking raw kills anytime you like, any day.
Ada orang pick.
He'll take a duel.
Ada orang pick.
Prime game and flawless, Josh, to put them on the map point.
Yeah. Oh, that is just.
Jiggle jelek banget sih Ras cuy.
wonder if Forsaken will end up playing a little worse than usual because he's not on the stage. He's got COVID right now. I was wondering the same thing myself.
Anjay.
But he has not missed a beat. And there's a Paper X HQ.
Ayo kesana yuk.
Bapak sama ibunya Jaden ikut
Where are we going here?
sama istrinya Maestri punya bapak.
That was a double blast pack with the showstopper from Jing. Like a shark attack play to crunch tiles.
Didn't come up with the goods though. Still Forsaken's holding close now with the judge. It's going to be the no command. They might just be walking right into this one. The flash.
Yeah, nah flash.
The discipline is there just to try and remove it, but the visor.
Ada Jing.
Now the Rare's going to be played just out in the open. Leo's dealt with, and Jing's already responding. The crossfire there.
Oh, you can't be doing that, Jing.
Parah, Cuk.
Enough of this. The Guardian, Trex. Oh my goodness. How is he converted into this? 3 kills. Enough shots going his way. It's down to this 1v1. But only 6 HP. Him versus Benkai to stay into the map. The repositioning, Benkai's already worked his way around. The timing, does Trex even know about this one? And the answer is no.
Gak lagi fokus.
13-4 is a scoreline.
Anjing si gue kira mau diapain.
Gue kira mau ditembakin palanya.
Iki mana Cuk?
Ngomong
Tahu Iki nggak asik Iki.
Kita nunggu apa-apa yang sekali dulu.
Just going to saying hello, saying thank you to Forsaken as he takes a stretch. But look at these map highlights. After one decent round for Guild on the defense side, they managed to string a few together at the end as well. But this was Paper X a masterclass in showcasing their style that they are going to be playing for the rest of the tournament. And you have to deal with them. They're not going to adjust to you.
That was one of the advantages that Guild had coming into this series, and it had been playing multiple different comps, a lot of unique compositions changing up. They're a hard team to prep for, but Paper X are the kind of team that force you to prep for them. They force you to read what they're doing and come up with answers on the fly. Great mid-round adaptations, I think, from Benkai with a lot of the calls that was happening. I mean, this was just a masterclass performance on this map.
G-Wolf anjir maksudnya.
When you look at somebody like Jing making his way back onto
Lihat logo di tengahnya tadi.
G-Wolf
nggak ada yang mahal. 800 tuh.
Hasn't yet been discussed in that kind of that arena because he's only had that one tournament run at Reykjavik where he's able to show himself, but he's just been filthy on everything he's played. It's 20 and 14. And by the time he got to the end, he was just taking raw duels.
Iya kan, tapi double click.
We're going to go to a short break on the other side of things. Of course, our desk breaking down action and setting up a crucial map number 2. Don't go anywhere.
Mana Bang Iki, Cok? Main game dulu. Gak boleh. Sejam. Iya.
Sama yang kirinya kan Gak
tahu.
Kan detik, menit, jam.
Aja Ji baboy. Maju Bang Iki turu dia sampai senderan. Bang. Gimana dong? Kita hanya bisa menonton. PPX cok. PPX are extremely good at Valorant, bukan paper. Anjrit. Kita pakai Verizon yuk. Lightning Fast Home Internet. Ayo sama dengan. Dia tidur aja. Kalau kan kemarin sampai
It's a great day to be a paper girl or a paper boy out there. I know you guys are having a lot of fun, and so are we. There was a lot of hype and anticipation. Yeah.
It's funny because the watch party that we showed, they looked like bored. They're like, yeah, this is normal.
They're too
when
used
did they
to
pull
an
out the fun stuff?
Yeah, they're too used to an APAP. But this is why I was going to ask you guys. You know, we had expectations. Have they been met? It's very early days, but have they been met?
Yeah, I mean, this map one was a stomp. It's exactly what we expected, exactly what we wanted from Paper X. Continue exactly the type of stuff that they've been the type of stuff that they've been doing online. It's so fun to watch.
I think one of the most fun things about this matchup is when you talk about game leaders who've had success on multiple different teams. The list is very short. In fact, I think it might just be called a mentor. The fact is, he's made some incredible calls throughout this matchup.
Dude, this guy Jing is
bener bego namanya tulus.
Kira asam dan basah bukan?
Rasa bubble gum siapa gue jangan termuntah.
He's so good.
Tapi rasa bubble gum.
He's making a play with something from Paper X or some timing that he's trying to hit. Here he's diving at his teammate. He's getting pressured like crazy. Forsaken with the judge.
Kalau di sini dari kemarin Grimace berhenti lagi.
You literally cannot make mistakes when you're with this team. I also want to touch on though Forsaken too when it comes to
106.
Yeah, I mean Jing and Forsaken as a duo, especially as you guys can see versus Trex and Leo. Trex and Leo are one of the most formidable duos of this entire tournament, and they made them look like
Trex and Leo. Nickname.
They're the guys who are having the best group stage. Yes. Like Leo of all time potentially, and now it's playoffs, and he's just gone because he's playing against Jing and Forsaken and Paper X.
Yeah, I think even just watching back some of those clips, you just see the sheer confidence of Jing. It's like he gets down to 1 HP. Does he hide? No, he's like, I'm going to hold the angle. They won't expect me to just sit in the open and stare at them. But that's Jing. It's like, it feels like when they were like putting in elements of fear, they just forgot it with Jing. There's nothing there.
It's just pure confidence, isn't it? Pure confidence. Speaking of pure confidence, it's time to take a look at the Verizon high-speed moment. And it's Paper X, so Tom, this is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, of course. The fact that Divide basically spent the whole game using the Odin is just hilarious, but of course it's going to be this man again.
Yeah, Jing is a nasty, nasty boy. I mean, he just sits behind the smoke, waits for it to fade, and then gets two of them. It's so good from Paper X, and Trex almost pulls it off, but this entire round felt super high pace, and eventually Jing is so Trex too, so good.
It's just gotta be a tilter when you throw everything at them, nothing works, and then they just end up doing the craziest things. But I will say that Safe had 305 ACS on a map that he only got 4 rounds.
Yeah, I think he was flawless in opening kills as well. So it's not even like he was having a particularly bad performance. It's just that they got owned.
And that is actually a good sign. I mean, not the boomer. They're down map. They're down map.
And it was their choice.
Pretty terrible.
It was their counter.
But if Safe is getting 100% opening kill success rate, that is literally something that is a win condition against Paper X. It's how Zeta Division took them down at last Reykjavik, and nobody else has been able to stop them because people haven't been able to put
gabut menonton Jing memakai Raje jadi terngiang-ngiang ingin memakai Raje.
This is the thing about Gilmore, right? In the past.
Raja seperti, wih gila langsung ketemu Perak Jado.
They have been down at times, but they're never
Dia
out. They always find a way.
Yeah, I think the worry for me is that they went into a game plan to try and like, okay, this is a map we haven't played much. We'll go in and surprise them.
Ngomong ikut sana diet net.
Well, the other thing as well is you're going to know what they're going to do on Fracture.
Anjay jadi
So
nih.
is every other team that's played them on Fracture. They are super aggressive, and there is nothing you can do. They're just nothing.
I got nothing to say. It's true. Like it's true. They play an unconventional comp.
Ya belilah monitornya.
They're dropping an extra controller that you would use with Viper, so they're basically getting the double walls and sending it and doing what we saw on Ascent with them going on multiple sides of the maps at all times.
Kiri. Ya nggak kelihatan tangan kiri.
I'm glad you guys mentioned Fracture. We kind of go deeper into what we can expect from it. This is where, Tom, you said, well, you got to pick your poison. It's either Bind or Fracture. Now, after that Ascent performance of just seeing Paper X bulldoze them over, I do feel like my hopes have gone down a little bit given that Fracture is the bulldoze map.
Udah, Cok.
This is the map where they literally just sprint at people at full speed. Like, Forsaken's Neon shouldn't be allowed. Like, I feel like his entry stats are always ridiculous, and he basically is just running at full speed at you. And he's almost like, in most of these rounds, you're going to see him as the first man in, as almost like the bait for Jing, but then he takes 3 players with him on the way, and Jing just cleans up the rest.
Yeah, it's really tough to deal with, I think. And for Guild as well, the comp that they've been playing, at least that they switched to, I don't necessarily think has had good success against this style of play on Fracture. We've seen them go up against it. We've seen Optic kind of take down
Astranya Bang Inki.
Comp. It's much different than the one we're going to see from Paper X right now.
This is basically triple duelist.
It's basically triple duelist, and it's also high octane the entire time on all 4 sides of the map. So, like for Guild, who we already saw had trouble placing their utility on specific spots to do anything against Paper X, now they have 4 sides to contend with.
But this is also
3 duelists.
I feel like this is where you realize that Benkai is actually a god, because the man that is setting pretty much every single one of these plays up is Benkai, and he is very, very good on the breach.
Well, we're into the
Ya Allah.
match found.
Iya anjir ada kita, Cok. Itu main tengah itu.
Harusnya langsung tangannya loh. Apa?
Deathmatch. Warm up.
Astranya Aaron, Cuk.
I'll survive a dent or 2. Can't say the same for you fragile humans.
Fight.
It's down.
Ih, jetnya jadon, Cuk, ternyata.
Astra's dead. Cancel. Kill. 3 kills. Bad guy down.
Bad guy down. 2A.
Udah main. Udah main, Cuk.
Mana itu?
Ya udah.
Parah banget sih gara-gara ada kita nih cupu.
They've got post plant setups that are phenomenal too. Like I said, they're winning over 80%
Phenomenal
of the
too.
in APAC, which is just bonkers.
Menang
And
kayak
Mindfreak, they're going all the way back to spawn, shooting his snake bites, already got the poison orb and the
Raptor.
spike. This is going to be
Mapnya
something that
si
Guild
Perek.
have to figure out early.
I like the
Proses
approach
kan
of
dia
Guild, I think,
neon.
fighting over Sam as well, not giving
Emang.
any space to
Bayi.
Paper X.
Yeah, I think they actually played the retake very nicely, Guild. It's just when it gets down to
all the layers added on top, the time's running down, the snake bites. Yeah,
Anjay.
hard to deal with that one, but
Langsung.
Whoa. Cleaning out onto the side. Even the spray's like, hey guys, I'm here.
And this is a very similar setup. Once more, Divide this time planting with a rendezvous that he can get out back to halls. So he's going to look to fight this a little bit more.
Angle's locked.
Oh,
Dumb.
Benkai making the wraparound silently on the road.
Dumb. Wah.
The headhunter, the swing, no tricks. He puts in enough damage. Does some good work, but ultimately, it looked like it's going to be.
Jangan di spray.
Too much. Whip out the pistol. Why not? Faster than a reload.
Dia bisa.
Oh,
Dia bisa.
no.
Oh.
These guys.
Parah,
so
Cuk.
much whimsy about them.
I love this team.
Dapat
They're so
mulu,
fun to
Cuk.
watch, and they're so happy to throw in these moments of personality in there. We saw Jing in the previous map as well. But the flank from Benkai is important to keep in mind, because even if we're talking gun round here and guilds start getting things down really close, Benkai, even if he doesn't kill the final player, has an aftershock lineup that he can go for that denies the person defusing.
Janco,
They're still thinking about these post plants,
Kata
and they
Dafai.
have them for the B site as well. It looks like potentially might see something over there early. Nope, just a bit of a fake. A flash, a stun, and a dash.
Enggak.
And Paper X are going back over to halls.
Dua terlalu ini kayaknya.
Early conditioning by Paper X just to ensure that
Itu
they
pas.
send that utility that way. If there's a player there, they
Sama kayak yang pas pertama.
try and position for it.
3 players fighting Dish early, and now there are a lot of people stacked on A.
Guild, are they going to try and fight this one early? The fast lane does block off that line of sight, including the slow one.
Anjas.
Drop
Woi, dikejar bumut.
Molly in place. It really has just split up the entirety of Guild in the Viper's pit. Well, it's already on. A nade dropped down. Leo just needs to get his gun out and support this
Anjir.
one. Orbital strike dropped on
Anjir.
top of it. A lot of damage being
Perang di
sent
dalam
flying
kegelapan.
through. Russ is in a world of hurt. Falling so low, but look at that
Manprik
speed
di
plan
bawah
right
Manprik.
up top. It is chaos
Di
right
belakang
now on the
Jadon.
battlefield. Players still alive, and Paper X, they've got the numbers advantage.
And here
Tries
comes
to move around. The pit's dropped. Mindfreak just playing outside of this one. Trades. Is it going to be enough? No. Not enough.
Di Benkai ini dapat mulu ya, tapi nggak ada yang expect padahal rot itu mulu. Flank. Habis bantu masuk temen side.
Most of that post plant waiting for the Dish reflank, and in the end Benkai wins the duel anyway. Guild's strategy, like I said, in this tournament, they're playing 3/4 of their rounds. That's 9 out of 12 in the half for retake. And Paper X
Anjay, di press cuannya langsung sama gue.
and they're crazy good at it. The adjustment needs to be coming through, and this is only the first layer of strategy from Paper X. They haven't gone B, they haven't done anything other than a default halls push.
Same utility, by the way, just being sent flying. This time there is something a bit behind it. The Paper X player
Oh,
just
ngefake dong ya? Oh, nungguin.
actually that angle, waiting for a reclear, waiting for a repeak.
And Guild know that this is different because they've got 3 players pushing out halls. So Safe knows there could be someone here.
Oh yeah, he's favoured there. Tour de force, that's an easy kill. Reposition though, Benkai has worked his way down. This is a fast push now, all the way into halls. 3 of the players.
Diapain? Oh, mati ya.
Impeccable actually the way that landed.
Kabur
A lot of
semua.
damage being done, but healed back up. I think that was right at the footstep.
Repnya di situ sih, aturan di belakangan lagi aja tuh udah ketahuan.
Being diligent clearing this area out. On Ascent, we saw a lot of reactive plays. If they got pushed, somebody else lurked into an area of the map. But that wasn't really possible. Benkai's the closest to it, and he's only now starting to take space over a dish.
Mampus lu selebel.
What? Instantaneous, man. The slider dash across, and of course he gets the reset off of it. He's just handed 2 kills. Pop off the ult, the man's feeling it. Down to that 2v2.
Tangannya kelihatan.
Disrespect, are you joking? Why are you holding that angle, man? You're against Safe, he's got a tour de force.
That is absurd.
NT.
And Guild end up winning the round. That one went into a very unusual direction.
And we've been seeing that every now and then, you know, a bit of an overextension.
Yeah.
A couple of times in a sense, you know, he hands him his life, gives an opportunity for Guild to get back into it. That time, it was grasped.
This play is amazing, and the spray transfer is gorgeous. The push after that as well. But there is another player, that Leo, who's in halls. And if Forsaken just wraps around and they kill Leo, they win the round. And so, yeah, you're right. The only thing that has been going wrong for Paper X in this match so far is Forsaken overstepping himself occasionally.
Getting the stun and the flash, but nothing towards it over on the B side. Fighters have that ult, though.
And this is where the conditioning starts to come through. Guild offer a tiny bit of utility early on, now have 4 players over at A. And if there's any adaptation for Paper X starting to make those same lurks they were going for on Ascent, those lurks are going to find big value. Because Guild are abandoning B and just leaving it to safe zone.
Shoulders touching at the wall, it seems. 2 of the players just watching this one with the orb being grabbed in the spam.
Pintu.
A large presence.
Gak ada yang liatin pintu anjir.
Now you see with the wall going up. Slow up as well to try and push them across.
Oh, liatin main
door opens up, he attempts to capitalize. Fast lane, that's a repush through Sand. Guild, they've got the players, but can they get the kills? That's the question on their minds. It is
Kan champion berat.
1 for 1, 3v3 now.
Benkai mana?
And a different plant spot, the 3rd plant spot that Paper X have gone for. This time
modar cuk,
langsung
nge-flank.
on top of it, Coldemender's going to look to go for this retake. Safe is still a long way away.
Awkward angle to be holding with the tour de force and teleports back. Difficult positioning, and look at this, yep. The wrap around by Safe. They know where Mindfreak is. Pressured the spam through. Guild with another one.
And Guild are starting to get the read on how to counter Paper X's attack side here. They're grouping up, they're overstacking sites. 4 players looking to defend A, and they still breach ult retook halls from them too. They're having to play faster, they're having to try and get picks before the spike plant goes down instead of playing those full retake setups. And this might be the first time that Paper X are forced to go on an eco. Still going for 2 Vandals, and maybe they end up forcing into this, but it doesn't look healthy, the buy from Paper X.
No. It's limited. Certainly limited.
Safe once more, by the way, being the key player for Guild. Locking down B, allowing his team to rotate, getting the kills on board. He's been a beast so far in this match. It just hasn't been enough. Perhaps it can be on Fracture.
He's been really making the most of it. Some big numbers still, Devi. You are really going to repeat that, Headhunter. He's ADS'd up. A follow-up from Forsaken is just a tad too late, and still the angle was held by Guild. Safe, this reposition right now. Could
so
be caught
dangerous.
unaware. There's a player already by his side. Ships in the night, but he backs away. Teleport to safety. Doesn't get punished for it.
Perfect timing, just as Mindfreak dropped the poison orb. And now a 2v4.
And Paper X have been defaulting to this when they're at this player disadvantage. We saw it on Ascent a lot. It's the contact plays, just trying to see if they're given any angles. A wider swing from Mindfreak. Good damage being done. Benkai gets himself onto the site though.
Benkai has already won 2 1v4s this stage. It would be an insane time to pull off another.
Doesn't look too likely though. Still with the players. Stun has to be avoided aftershock as well, and he's full blind. Swings to avoid a lot of the bullets and the fire that was going his way, but that's going to be an easy defuse.
And Guild staying in control. An element of their defensive setup that we didn't discuss that round was a Sage Wall that Russ just plopped down at the top of B main. And I think those walls should be able to get really good value against the way that Paper X plays if Paper X slow the tempo down. Popping a Sage Wall and just knowing that a quarter of the map is locked off and you don't have to worry about Paper X's players lurking through there is peace of mind for Guild. Something that they never had on Ascent.
it speaks mountains.
Makanya pemasukan itu jual salju.
Come back into this map and keep it even after the absolute battering that they got on a cent on their map pick.
Absolutely.
Game cuma palo.
A team that's been extremely strong mentally so far in this tournament. Guild have had 3 out of 6 of the maps played so far go to overtime, and out of those 3, Guild have won 2 of them. They have been, of course, everybody apart from Coldamento is pretty inexperienced on the big stage, and yet they've looked like veterans. They've come out, they've played their best ever Valorant, they're calm, they're winning the clutch moments, they've been great in OT. They need to draw on that deep mental reserve that they've showcased to keep themselves in this, on what most people would say is Paper X's best map.
They've been approaching it with the right direction. Safe has been an absolute lifeline.
And Leo is warming up too. Not a great first map, uncharacteristically, but now over onto the breach 6 and 3, finding spots where he's been great at anchoring down areas of the map like halls, for example.
Anjir, ketebak cuma masih sayap.
First dish push.
This is a different look for them. A flash and a stun. Once more, it's usually the beginning of most of these fast takes of all this space.
And Safe was posted up actually with his operator looking towards Dish. Got flashed, had to leave.
In their spawn, the Rolling Thunder cuts across. That's a stun being placed. Forsaken. Oh, he's already in there. Straight away, picks up the operator. You cannot be taking that angle. Dodging, juking. Nade's going to be pushing him back. 34 health. Holds down Mouse One, but not enough to claim the kill. The spike, though, already planted. In fact, the Resurrect was available in the back pocket of Russ. He's going to be returning Safe back into the action. This could get dangerous now for Paper X. And it's a fast play. Look at that double satchel right into the headshot. Trex and Leo to combine it all together.
What a wonderful retake from Guild. That's the Guild that we've been seeing so far in the tournament. The fast retake, the ults were perfect, the coordination, immaculate, and Paper X got completely overwhelmed. Love that round from them. Beautiful.
Really do. And, I mean, Guild have been forced to play at that increased tempo. To match Paper X, to deny them space, don't let them get too easily these post plants, and look at that. I love how aggressively and rapidly they're able to make the decision to fight over Hall's control here.
The movement as well with the blast packs was fantastic there from Trex.
I'm not gonna lie, dude, Baba looks like he is aging in real time. But I mean, to get back onto the previous point, is one of the things that
Jadon diomelin
better than anybody else.
Overpick.
He's put so much time and work, I think, into a lot of his satchel movement that it is an extra element, is a thing that gives him an edge.
Similar look to this round as well. And Paper X find the opening, kill it.
Oh.
Both Leon
Tight way.
dropping at holes, just
Belum di clear.
And Trex, he's forced to do the impossible, trying to anchor the onslaught that was coming his way.
Ambil senjatanya.
He's picked the backup though. It's going to be Plant in the previous position that they were laying down. Obviously, Mind Freak still alive, 2 snake bites in his hand. How do you deal with this?
The fast retake is a great idea, but not an option.
Benkai anjing muternya jauh banget.
Sprinting around.
Safe was aware he was taking the fight to him, but
I mean, I think he was actually leaving to save the
Dimarahin
operator.
langsung.
I don't think he was aware that Benkai
Mainnya pada bener.
But Benkai was playing up a dish and decided, hey, I'll mix it up. This round I'll go for the long lurk flank through spawn. And I think the way that Paper X are playing their post plants with, you know, Benkai over a dish and Mind Freak going for the poison orb and snake bites, you want to be fast. You want to be really quick on the retakes.
Look at that.
But you can't do anything if 2 of your players just die in halls immediately. That's not even the point of this round for Paper X. They're trying to just take a slow skirmish at halls and have a fast reactive push from Dish, but they just won the fight.
Mampus tuh kejepit. Hampir.
I think that's miscoordination, obviously, because the teleport was in place. We could get out of there, but finally we see that tempo. Auto utility just being dumped into the back of the site. Forsaken already deep within tower. He spotted it, but he just can't quite find the head still. Pinged out, it's going to be Russ spammed through all of it, but the team just can't quite get through the choke point. That's what the Viper's pit's for. Tried to give him a bit of covering fire, but I mean, the overdrive is not the best weapon for the job, is it? Can't quite go through the walls, but it does enough.
Aduh.
Spam from Leo has the Rolling Thunder, waits for it. Now he can hear the plant. Random spam though, not enough to claim a kill.
Needs
this pick.
Dapat Benkai.
And he's being so cautious of it. Diligent with the peeking up and down on the rope. He knows it's going to be held by a player. And how are you favored in this one? The timing, the stun, and the positioning.
It's beautiful.
It is good.
Well coordinated between Leo and Coldamenta. They get the punish.
I'm worried about time though, Josh.
Leo still has rolling thunder here. He knows both players are over a tree.
I'm really worried about time because now you're going to start to see the snake bites, I think, coming through. Mindfreak's already laid it down, and with the orb buff as well, it's just being played off the clock once more.
Yeah. Coldamenta's going to try and stick, but there's just no hope here.
There's nothing more heartbreaking as well than losing in that fashion. You come into it with good ideas, but if you're still taking them rapidly, if you're not coming at them with that pace to try and destroy the post line in the first place. The lineup Larry reigns supreme.
Yeah, it really does. Mindfreak's just applying a ton of time pressure in the post plan. And you talk about good ideas not working. The beginning of that round, Russ deliberately walls off safe to make it look like there can't be an operator player there. And yet PaperX are still throwing stuns out, flashes out, making sure that nobody could possibly be contesting them. They're not baited by the Sage Wall going down in the slightest. That was a really cool idea from Guild that got nothing.
Round 2.
Same
like
utility
play,
again,
doesn't it? Yep, fast lane over the top. There's no wall to try and block them.
Revolving it
Trademark as well, slow
through the wall.
Oh, a bit of mischief, I think. Honestly, an opportunity for Guild to come back into this one, especially with that pickup onto Forsaken. With the res in play, now the rolling thunder exchanged on both sides. They want to deny the plant going down in the first place. The Guild players have started to swarm this one now. They do have good positioning, but can they win out the fights? That's the question.
Spike goes down.
Guild
setting up for the retake. They're in already, using the blast packs to take space.
Pushing forwards though, and now you can start to see it, pressure being applied. Half on the diffuse already. Trex, he should be able to get this.
Yeah, the aftershock misses.
The aftershock misses. Not enough time being bought for the snake bites, and all the players cleaned up for PaperX.
And of course, if you're going to put all of your eggs in the post-plant utility basket, you've got to be able to hit them. Benkai just with a slight miss on that one. And had the aftershock found its mark, the snake bites would have been coming through afterwards as well. But for Guild, it's the fast retake. Watch how quickly they take all of this space. They've got a double blast pack in from Trex, safe supporting with the operator, and the rest of the teammates pushing in behind the space that Trex manages to gather for them. The fast retake is working for Guild.
Blow for blow,
round
for round, so even in this half. Again, the same play by PaperX, 3 rounds in a row. It's all going behind it, and the spam through the wall, these adaptations. Coldamenta, 2 rounds in a row, he's been able to find value. He's been rewarded with a kill just through essentially unloading the Phantom.
And it's Jing taken down. The spike is not committed, however, and this might be the first time that Mindfreak goes for one of these classic lurks that we were seeing on Ascent. Devi very marginally avoids getting punished, and Forsaken is now left in a very odd spot. Going to be dueling Russ, normally good for them.
Yeah, looking up, and he's got the crosshair placement. Once more, the precision is there. Bit of a noise bait.
It's drawing a couple of players back towards B, but the spike was heading A.
It's because the trademark was destroyed in holes.
Yeah, Benkai and Mindfreak have to make a decision. Do you commit or do you go back to B? And Forsaken is letting the team know, there's no one here, guys. Just come back. Stick to B.
Dapat nih si Davai.
And look how far away Coldamenta is. He's the one with the brimstone roll. He's the one that can deny this plant. And I think he's too far away.
Might just be in range, surely, with the nade. The stun to try and follow it up. Forsaken is already deep. Does get taken out. The orbital strike. Get chunked down. Benkai's left down to 12 HP, but he does have that aftershock. He's not missed this lineup this time around, though.
Bisa tadi tipis banget anjir. Tadi playnya rada ke belakang, Cuk.
Never ideal, and look at the positioning as well. It's already being wrapped around by Devi. He's got this crossfire. You can hear them coming out, and that's going to be the mark found. Safe falling down to Leo. This guy, he's been good for it in the past, but not quite this time around.
A beautifully played round from PaperX that was much more reminiscent of their mid-rounding from Ascent. But Guild have been able to keep up with them throughout this half, and I think deserve enormous props for that. Look for a moment at where Jing is on the scoreboard. 3 and 11, got taken out as the first kill. And listen, this isn't a bad half from PaperX, but he's not having that same impact that I was expecting from him on this map. And I think part of it is because he's not playing the Rays. He's not able to get double blast pack initiations. He's just kind of plodding into the site, not able to get big value on this attack half. On the defense side, he'll be looking to get value out of the Sage, but hasn't had it so far. And that's been part of the reason why Guild are up to 5. No Jing.
Hanya 4 anjir.
Hasn't really been an element in this match, in this map, I should say.
What
over the
Itu
top.
dari mana bola?
Yeah, it goes over the top. You have to stand on the boxes to do it.
It's an interesting one as well because that's covering the trademark and making Surf think potentially
Wait, Dafai.
up there.
Belakang lu hantu.
That's a lot of noise being made into Hall. Trex tries to take the angle and his teammate once more, Leo. Both of them, this duo, they just mow them down. Players being found, dropped down, it's all up to Forsaken. He does have the spike, but there's only so much you can do, especially when you're slow peeking those corners. 6-6 being a half. An immense amount of respect, I think, for Guild to be able to answer back after that first map.
Yeah, I think they've done an incredible job in the half to get themselves into this position, and it's safe again. 13-8, putting on the performances and keeping his team in it. It doesn't get any easier once Paper X go onto their defense side. They are very aggressive, and they will put pressure on Guild. But Guild themselves have got into a great position here to try and recover the series.
I think they've proven that they can stand up to it. We're going to go to to the analyst desk. I was about to say a short break, not quite yet. The action's still waiting on the other side of it, though. Analyst desk, break it down for us. What have you got?
I don't want to break. I want 4 overtimes on this map. As many overtimes as humanly possible. But guys, what a great recovery from Guild after the first map and also after the first 3 rounds of this map. I was feeling like, oh, it's not looking good.
Yeah, it didn't look good at all. It felt like Paper X started trolling at the beginning, to be honest. We started with a Benkai knife in round 2. So yeah, for them to bring it back after that, it works really well because I think the ults that they started to get online, the amount of times that Trex is finding impact, really did bring them back in the game.
Yeah, I think some of the adaptations, especially when it comes to the A side, with like how they were retaking rather than really battling for it in a lot of the early rounds. I still don't think their B site hold was particularly good. I think they got caught out quite a lot by just how aggressive Forsaken was actually able to be, and some of the space he was taking in some of those rounds was still absurd. But yeah, this is an example of one of the retakes and some of the impact we saw from Trex.
It's not consistent though, right? You're not being able to get this over and over and over because they're pulling him like a scent all over the map. It's just, I think the Ascent map gave them a little breather, a little lean in and possibility that this stuff is going to happen. So we need to see a little
ada orang main nggak?
Now we're moving to the attack side, and this is where
Si Iki turu anjir. Ada di DC.
Too, if we want to talk about consistency, because obviously he's playing a different agent, and Saito and Brent touched on it. But Tom, a significant drop-off in terms of kills for him in this one.
Yeah, I do think this might be more so to do with their defensive side, like potentially going to try and lock off one side of the map while they aggress on the other. It's more of a, I guess, common way of doing it around that Sage, but it does remove the aspect of him almost being, I don't want to say the sidekick because he's never a sidekick, but the sidekick to Forsaken, because Forsaken will still be having to make those plays, otherwise you really do lose the value of having a Neon on the defense. So I'll be interested to see how they run it, but ultimately I actually think that Guild have a good opportunity on this attack. I think Trex is fantastic, and I think they have all the utility to set him up.
I mean, this is the best scoreline they possibly could have gotten after that start, but you said it at the beginning of this. I think Fracture is the most terrifying map to play against the defensive side of Paper X.
Well, it's 6-6 at the half. Definitely wasn't the same story from the first map, but let's see if Guild can actually take this all the way and get the job done. Back to you, Saisho and Brent.
Thank you very much, Sue. Yeah, I certainly hope so. Honestly, a map 3 in this series would be a treat, I think, for our first game of the playoffs. And Guild have shown great resilience being able to make this one even.
Paper X, though, aren't usually better on their defense side. Now, having said that, they usually play Jing on Raze, and they're going to push you from all over. And if you just look at the minimap and how Fracture is set up, when you start on the attack side, you barely have any space. You're so cramped. There's no corners to hide behind or cover. So if you get pushed, it is really difficult. This time, though, Paper X are playing a bit more of a conservative composition. And that's where I've got questions. Are they going to play conservative?
Squeezing.
And they're starting with a safe squeeze.
Kabur anjir. Kena.
Right underneath the ropes, that's such a tiny angle, but still he will fall. Safe goes down, but the 4 players they've got to just try and push their way through. Stunned up though, the trademark, the slow build, it's all activated. Trex, he does well. He does return back with a couple of more kills, and it's a quick re-push right into Arcade. The knife is out!
Oh my
the knife is out!
Jing and Boss both run out of bullets, and Jing adapts faster and pulls out the knife for a quick shank.
What is this? The Sage on Sage warfare, just fighting in the streets.
Jail Valorant.
It is brutal out here. It is brutal.
Oh, that's crazy. I mean, for starters, the pace to be able to punish safe, I love. But then what's so dangerous about Paper X on the defense side is you try and reactively go and take B main, and they get slowed by a trademark, and Forsaken is already running back to stun them. For the problem with Paper X and playing against them is that they know what your reaction is going to be, and they anticipate it. They know you're going to reactively take B from them, so they go back and deal with it.
Stun over the top, a bit of Guardian spam, that's going to be 2 kills rewarded though. A little fight took place in halls on top of it, so despite the fact that this is...
Spectre-nya bawa, cu.
Still looking more than dangerous.
Yeah, extremely doable, and this is Guild playing at their tempo, slowing things down now that they have the player advantage.
They would love to open this up with a quick
Cabut ke, boy.
being found.
Gas Jing mati juga.
Certainly turn this round properly in their favor. Still the disrespect being shown though. Damage being done, Divide just waits it out.
Here's the pick on the other side though, Cold Demented.
Di luar.
Actually getting gifted one from Mindfreak. And Mindfreak checks the wrong position. And this is where Guild are going to get rewarded because Paper X will push. And if Guild can find the timings to slow things down, they might get given picks like that.
Stun across, that's just off of the instinctual timing with the smoke being dropped. It's already pushed right through it, Benkai not wasting any time, and Trex, that bulldog that was gifted to them earlier, comes in handy indeed. A thrifty round for Guild to get themselves even once more.
And there's a knockout blow in one direction, and a response instantly from Guild. They've been doing a great job in this map of controlling Paper X. That opener from Safe is awesome. And they trade 2 for 1, trying to control the aggression towards Tree. You can see the difference in the reactions of both of the coaches there. Alex for Paper X and Barbar for Guild, and how much it means to both of these teams. What a thrifty to win.
Forsaken, no. Oh, once more the pace, the tempo. It's turned up a tad, but Leo more than ready to absorb all the aggression coming his way with the rifle. Still,
this is the problem.
Turning into the 3v3, and Divide, well, of course, more than likely to re-swing and refight this one. Quite favored for it, is he though? Still made it dangerous.
Very dangerous. Guild choosing to try and defend the spawn location, defend bridge against the crunch. And even with no weapons in the hands of Paper X, even with only pistols, you can see how awkward that got for the Guild players. They don't have enough cover to hide behind. They're trying to take a fight on 2 fronts, and they're getting pinched from both sides. They managed to fend off a crunch that time and take the lead 8-7. But can they do it once Paper X have got the Vandals?
Not only that, Device sitting with the operator.
Go, go, go.
And this one looks a little weird because Device going to be playing with Forsaken. I love this smoke. To allow Guild to take a little bit of space.
Device trying to get set up onto the angle there. What? What?
Down A.
Absolutely illegal movements that I'm just witnessing. What in the Lord's name was that?
On the other side of the map, Jing walls off Arcade, trying to get value out of this Sage. And Safe's movement through tunnel is going to end up getting stumped. Benkai hears them coming, but he's the only defender of B.
Benkai into the stun, into the flash. The utility is being dumped into that choke point. Doesn't want any of the Guild players to get a foothold.
But he never has to worry about his back here. He never has to worry about getting pinched because Jing's wall has stayed up. And now you're starting to see the value of the wall on defense. However, now it's broken. Paper X with a 4v3, but Guild are all over the map.
This could get dangerous quite quickly, but it depends on this fight that's taking place at Arcade. The angle, and it's spotted out. Leo is good for it.
What a pick from Leo.
Nice.
An enormous impact kill.
Up on drop though, as soon as his trademark is broken.
Could spell.
30 seconds left.
Kawan.
A tricky scenario with the time running.
Tunggu temennya dia.
Devi is posted up into halls currently. Trademark's broken. Is he going to be able to return and turn around here? The orb goes up to try and at least deny a bit of space, but shots being missed. Devi doesn't anticipate it. Aggression by Safe, and he's taken so much off of him.
Amazing play by Safe. Great work reacting to where Devi was going to rendezvous. And with that plant, Leo has got the Rolling Thunder. I don't think it should be necessary. But you can tell
OP-nya nge-miss mulu
all
anjir.
of the ways they can use to punish.
Oh, Leo with the swing is just a little bit too late.
This crossfire should be impossible to break.
It is.
But Benkai has a flash.
Surely. Gets dangerous, but it's secured.
It is a really dangerous round, but another good one from Guild. They're finding their footing in the series, getting the read of how Paper X want to play. And I mean, that shot, I don't know how he's hit it. That's a flu game kind of buff in terms of that flick. But he did get punished immediately afterwards, and that's Guild. You can pop off against them, but they're mostly going to trade you out. And the real pick that wins the round, in my opinion, is Leo finding the kill on Jing at Arcade. And Jing, again, struggling to find too much of that usual value that you get from him, which is he's a heavy fragger. Yeah. Currently sat with only 4 kills.
Heavy.
Compared to what we're used to. A timeout called. Game plan has to be cooked up. Adaptations need to be made. Alex is just going to be popping off. Yeah. You could feel the frustration earlier as well when we were showing the coaches side by side.
Definitely. And both of these coaches are very vocal too. You'll see sometimes, you know, the coaches will be sat back, allowing the IGL to take their moment and discuss what they think the adaptation should be, offer some input. But I mean, Barbar's been spitting in all of these timeouts. Yes. And seems like Alex is no different. Just providing a little bit of input, turning the ship slightly, and hopefully in a better direction.
Guild have got the confidence. They've been edging out these rounds. Coming down sometimes to just 1 or 2 players alive, but enough to hold a lead.
And Paper X are going to be starting on an eco round here. Previously on their eco, they crunched towards bridge. There are 4 players for Guild defending that bridge area.
The Tour de Force and the Overdrive available. It could still be a dangerous round for Guild. They do need to be cautious of this, and you can feel it as well. They heard the Tour de Force popped off. Trex is just making sure that he jump peeks these angles. In fact, everybody, they don't want to get caught unaware just in case he could be hiding.
Nobody paying too much attention, though, to Dish. And I think for Paper X, this is just expecting Guild to play slowly.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about Dish because Guild are not a fast-paced team that are going to, you know, take the risk and jump somebody into the site on their anti-eco. So Paper X playing a little more riskily on their eco round. Focused on halls, looking to try and play off the back of Mindfreak's contact.
Players over towards the B side, yeah. Paper X, I think now looks like they're trying to take that gamble stack over towards A.
And it does look like it's going to be the right read.
There was an attempt there. You can see the smoke was popped off earlier into Arcade. Benkaido is holding this. What is going to be it? Final contact. That's what we're waiting for. Rolling Thunder, that connects onto them. And now the overdrive. Stuns into stuns, but the kill's being found. 2 drop down. Guild going to be donating those weapons if the other one can be received.
What a trap play. That was amazing. But now they're going back into Defi's Tour de Force.
Lihat dapai.
It doesn't get easier. Forsaken's
He's
still
already
here.
man. He's already here. Oh my goodness, 14 seconds left. The slow orb dropped down.
Dapai kurang banget anjir.
The kills are flooding through. Save is able to find some significant value.
Woo.
Forsaken just beaming him down, man. And the thrifty win once more. Back and forth, back and forth. And I said it at the beginning of this round, Josh. It's not an easy one for Guild when they're up against that many ultimates.
It's heartbreak for both of these teams. For Paper X, they're expecting
dari
to win
tadi
round 14 and
pakai OP ulti.
for Guild, of course, they're expecting to win that.
Posisi sama nembaknya.
Awesome trap play and a huge round from Forsaken, but he's set up so perfectly by the rest of his squad. And the hard read from Alex and from Benkai.
Kaget Joshua ke setrum.
You hear that there in the comms from Guild.
Setrum si Jadon.
It's fine. Reset. Go next. You need that mentality.
Certainly do.
Jadon.
Could change at any given moment.
But it has crushed Guild's buy. Same, of course, with the Tour de Force.
Kabut Jing.
But it's the same kind of trap play. This time with Jing just swinging with a fault line off the back of somebody punishing his wall.
Yeah.
So he puts the wall up. If somebody breaks the wall, he's going to swing through it.
Kelihatan.
That's some way of getting aggressive on stage. Pinged off. Oh, they know
Hell
the
it.
player right back behind it. Slow up on the aftershock. It's pretty significant pieces of utility that are going to be used to try and expend it. But of course, just chamber things. Backs away. Rendezvous back to safety.
Forsaken is anchoring B right now. And Guild have a lot of utility with which to flush out tower. They have the nade, they've got fault line. Trex, if he wants to, can try and double blast back in with a showstopper. I wonder if Forsaken can slip his way out of this one, if it does end up being a B split.
Ada.
Seiken seems worried.
As soon as the fault line comes in, though, he runs
Tidak.
back into tower to try and punish whoever would be scaling.
Iya mau bunuh si Jadon dulu anjir.
Fault line finally being used, but now line of sight angle. Watch
Masuk Davai. Nice. Santai, santai. Santai, cok. Buang-buang senjata dia.
It was Benkai using his fault line so they could re-clear tower with Forsaken sprinting in.
Yeah, I thought that was Leo's actually. I thought he was trying to punish Leo stunning it.
Nice.
But you're right, both of the breaches
Nice.
the same fault line to try and maintain control over tower. And even though Forsaken falls, the rest of his team is just supporting him so well. Here's that play from Jing. Nice idea. And one of the few times that you've seen something unique out of Jing's Sage, finds him a pick. That is also going to put a bit of fear in the back of Guild's head. And now the reactions seem much more genuine from the Paper X headquarters. Now that they're actually having a close game.
Yeah, being truly
Kabur cok si itu.
evacuation across the ropes.
Ayef.
This is an instant fast response. Look at how quickly they're moving into arcade.
Jadi attacker cok Paper X.
Throwing down the stun, wondering if they could even be further along than they are.
Yep, now with a double satchel play into the showstopper right on top of the steps.
Benkai. Oh, dapat satu.
Oh, he's gifted with one. Cool, calm, and collected just the one though, before he eventually will fall to the ultimate. Side control gain, they have to try and deal with Jingno, and he was into that corner, isolated, back against the wall.
Very nice play from Russ and Safe, putting pressure on him from two different directions.
Tower dulu.
That's just off the back of the vulnerable.
Yeah, able to get it. Only a couple of bullets that were needed, but the post-plant position of Guild right now is quite good. Coldamenta does have a Brim Molly. Let's see if he has a lineup for it. It could buy him even more time, but the crossfire setup. Main and back arcade. Yeah, right up into the sky. Time pressure being put on here. Mindfreak might be in a bit of trouble. Stun force through. There's that Molly and the spam because they can just hear the taps coming down, and a great round by Guild. Pulling out the ultimates, making sure that they had complete control over that one.
Very well played. And I think their Guild's reaction to instantly take arcade control and go into B was nice. But you're seeing Paper X actually being slower than I would expect to adjust their positioning. They didn't go and fight arcade early on. Benkai honestly was caught out in tower and lucky to even get a kill in that situation. And Jing just stayed at tree, kind of tucked into a weird position, a little less mobile than when he plays the Rays. Paper X don't look like the same level of reactive, fast-paced, crazy set play team that they usually do when they're on Fracture. And Guild are punishing them for it. It really is classic Guild. They don't need to set up their own win conditions, they just need to break their opponents.
They're finding that Paper X are a bit tougher than the usual opponents, I think, in terms of cracking their overall game plan, but they are finding that edge. Leading by the one round, they've got the guns in their hands on either side. Just trying to see if they can get away with taking some space. Forsaken, he actually bounds that stun off the top of the wall, actually onto the ceiling.
Klik kanan.
Lands and he's posting himself back up onto the angle.
This is madness.
Are you going to come this? Stun into the corner. Oh my goodness, the wall goes down. Forsaken maybe thought that he could have got away with it at a slide-off angle, but Safety opens up the door at the wrong time there. His own teammates flash just connecting right into his face. Up to Mindfreak to see if he can lock this one off to the side. The aftershock pushes him back. Slow going, especially with the orb. Double satchel in. Are they ready for it? The teleport! Engage! Oh, back to safety. Coldamenta needs to try and capitalize. Swings back through now into sand. Two-pronged attack right through halls as well. Ready and waiting.
Yeah,
that's a bit of a whiffage from Divine. Flick of the wrist right through the wall. Coldamenta.
11 HP, cok.
Ice cold from Coldamenta, but how was he allowed to get away
udah
with
challenge
that?
tuh.
Coldamenta taking a fight against Divine and it looked whiffy, but he still comes up with the goods.
Jingnya juga ya kurang.
That one work off the back of Coldamenta's flank. The shot onto Benkai is nice, but this one, I was convinced that Divine was going to be able to get away with that. What a huge round for Guild to recover. And off the beginning of it too, Leo timing his fault line for when the Viper wall dropped. Guild are really getting the read for how Paper X want to play. They're learning as the game goes on.
Fast engage once more. Trademark is out in the open. I wonder if that's intentional by Trex. He actually triggered it this team can get through the choke point, they're not going to be stuffed up. Rolling Thunder as well, that's going to be used to disrupt that as soon as the plant noise down, and Paper X they want to play off the back of it. Damage. Oh, it's more than done. Locked back, the spike is dropped. Has to be a quick response.
Nice.
But it's not enough, man. What is that?
That's a fast retake. We've seen a few of them in this game so far. Both of the teams sometimes enjoy throwing him in there. And that one was quick.
Just a whiplash you're getting off these rounds. Sometimes it just opens up, and it's over in the first 10 seconds.
Yeah, it's off the back of the breach ultimate. You've got Benkai anchoring tower, and as soon as the B hit comes through, he throws it out. It buys time for Forsaken, for Divide to run through the smoke. And they both hit their shots. Guild, despite winning 2 rounds in a row, after one loss, they are straight back on Nico.
Just shows how close these rounds have been. Not many chances to carry the weaponry forwards, even when they're winning these rounds. The economy is just taking a beating over and over again.
And a reminder that for Guild, the only map they've won convincingly so far at this tournament was Fracture. They won 13-6. Every other map has been, 2 rounds in it, super close. And they're getting pushed to the limit, but they're doing a great job of recovering after a rough map 1. It looks destined for OT.
It really does.
It's been so back and forth.
There's been no breaks in it.
And this is the first breather that we've really had. Trex looking to take a fight here with his Sheriff, perhaps onto Benkai. Trex hasn't really gone for any kind of reactive dish pushes so far. And Paper X have almost forgotten about that area of the map. They're not too threatened by it. Maybe Guild can punish them for that lax nature.
All the space being gained, though. Jing has pushed deep, breaks up that trademark, and now they got to know where some of the positioning is, especially with Forsaken clearing halls. The top of the map, that's the direction that Paper's going to have their eyes on. Especially drop. That's been compromised for quite some time now.
Unfortunately, Forsaken has pushed all the way out, and he is going to have halls control. These 5 players flooding out through drop.
The reactive light ball to try and disrupt it. Still, Trex is already there.
10 seconds.
Satchel across. Where is the spike? How do they get onto this one? The crossfire. Oh, it's found. Boombot will at least guide Trex towards one of the targets, but they don't have enough time.
No plan,
no
time.
Zing pasang.
Dia mau begitu, Cong, ngapain? Dia berubah-ubah. Heree 5 gitu.
Just not quite enough with the weaponry they had at the time available.
Di Jadon belum, siapa sih Razenya?
Their game against Crew, they lost multiple rounds in that kind of same way. They did.
Cuy, biar nggak 3 round udah buru-buru ngantuk.
And just ask the question of Guild, can Guild win these rounds on their own? If we stop making pushes and giving them opportunities, can Guild just pull off a big execute into us?
It's the Guild play style when they like to play slow, absorb the aggression, see if they can force mistakes out of their enemies.
Forsaken has just popped the overdrive instantly.
Oh, he's so deep. But this crossfire, the dash, the slide! Mind Freak's there to follow up, but that's classic Guild for you. The trade is instantaneous, and the resurrect in play means that they're right back to full health. 5 players now swarming onto the A site. Not a Paper X defender in sight to try and disrupt it.
I'm so confused by that from Forsaken and Maen though. There wasn't information on the rest of the map. For all Forsaken knows, he might be running into all 5 players there. I suppose he knows Russ isn't there because there was a wall up towards Arcade, but that seemed...
Dia ngapain nge-push mulu ya? Padahal dari tadi kebanyakan berhasil first round doang anjir.
A 3v5 retake. I'm not sure how they're going to be able to pull this one off.
Iya.
In a great position to get up to map point.
Well, he's been pushed into this one, but the positioning is not good for Paper X. That rolling thunder, it collides into multiple targets. Safe will fall, but time is a bit of an enemy right now for Paper X. The longer they take trying to take this space and break their way into halls, the less they're going to have to work with. Still, the molly, it disrupts it, it cuts it across. No players can work their way through into the site, and a call is made. Disciplined at the end of the day. Paper X going to be backing away and keeping these rifles.
To some degree, a bit of a win in terms of the pressure they applied on the retake attempt. Jing, with a resurrect, allows them to keep their economy really strong, although there is only 1 more round left. And they did force out a breach ult from Leo. Maybe that's a win in their books, but Guild will be feeling very happy.
1 more round to deny that OT. Take this map, bring it to the 3rd and final map.
Padahal pas si Jadon main sabar menang mulu kan.
Can they stop this one going the same way? To be fair, Josh, typically favoured when it gets to OT. That's true. Winning most of them. Freak going to be dropping down this Viper's pit, so that's going to be denying some space over towards Arcade. Minute 30 on the clock, and there's contact push. 3 players ready and waiting for Paper Rex. They break up this trademark early on.
And Guild started the round with 4 players over at Bridge, anticipating some kind of crunch there, and slowly working their way up towards Dish. So far in this round, it's just an exchange of trademarks, an informational war.
Yeah, making sure that they threaten that they could be taking that space. But this Viper's pit is such a nuisance for them to deal with.
Guild have to remember about time management. There's 50 seconds left right now, and they're starting to move their way towards A. But this is also coinciding with Divine and Forsaken pushing out of halls. If they catch Safe, this would be devastating.
It's looking a bit worrying maybe for Guild, but
Nice.
He's going to fall.
And
Drops
now
down, stunned into the corner.
they get back in time to help Jing.
It's an instant pivot though. They're going to start to move into their own spawn. They're not even going to be going towards the A site.
What a call, what an audible from Coldamenta.
How does he manage this one? Let's see if they can even manage to get this spike down to try and close it out. Benkai, operator in his hand. He's not the usual weapon for the job, and he's removed instantaneously now. Spike starting to get planted. Russ got enough time.
CT-nya tapi ke kontrol anjir.
Lost tower control. Mindfreak still up here. He needs the help of the rest of his team. All 3 members of them just colliding their way now right through the choke point.
They've flipped the map completely. Mindfreak still has his wall to cut these players off.
Oh my goodness.
And the Sages go 1 for 1.
The return of fire, they get it, but still the Brim Molly, it disrupts them still. Fault line being held by Leo off the tap. Gonna be using it at the choke point just to try and stop them from getting through, but now Jing is gonna start to stick this one, pushing forward, trying to hold it. They need to spam it, they need to get through this.
Nice, nice.
Do it.
Salah dia harusnya.
It's held at the end
Kalau
of
nggak
the
di
day.
stick.
Jing, he brings it to OT for his team.
It's just had to be this way. Another one of Guild's maps goes to overtime.
OP-nya Dava yang masih Benkai nge-miss mulu anjir.
He needs some cardiac treatment after all of these, but Guild have won 2 out of 3 of their OT maps so far. That time though, in the final round, I really like the audible that Coldamenta called to run towards B.
Puyeng coy si botak.
Everybody off site on
Sayap.
the plan. Mindfreak had not yet invested his Viper wall, and as soon as that goes down, there's nobody who can contest and get information on whether or not Jing is sticking. As we head into the first round of OT, both
Kiras di mana sih tadi? Mati ya?
and for Paper X, that means Device doing it.
Tadinya nahan strike kan?
Looking like they want to try and face each other maybe into halls, and big dump of utility right over towards the B side. Usually there's a threat behind it, and Forsaken, well, he's going to be trying to follow up the spam. Tries to predict where it might be, and while all is
Nice,
going
masih
on,
dapat
you've got to
satu.
be kidding. Flicks to the side. Should never be
3 lawan 4 coy menang orang.
It's a suicide fake from Paper X, and yet they still find a pick out of Forsaken. It was all designed to bait the push in halls, and they did. They baked it safe, they punished him, and now they have the plant.
They haven't actually afforded themselves to give up any position.
Sabar Ron.
Jing, he plays up onto drop as well. He walled himself up now, so they've got this good
Nice.
fire and a setup, and Mindfreak.
Ah, Puyeng tuh yang di hall.
Benko is doing early on all the time.
And Mindfreak, he has
Hey.
the post-plant positions from there.
Nice. Baru coy OP-nya.
Rings around.
Pakai dulu dan
An
serius.
awesome idea to go for the fake. Forsaken selling it beautifully and coming out with a kill on top is just more than you can ask the guy to do.
Tangannya dingin coy tadi.
Room with COVID.
Yeah. Reminder, that is his current situation.
And he's hitting flicks like that.
Not optimal in terms of the situation that he's living through right now. He's not there with the rest of his team on the stage, but Josh, I mean, 25 and 23. Highest deaths on his team, but he's putting up the goods time and time again. And Paper X.
Jelas banget ini nih.
In fact, Jing is even committing his own wall. It blocks off his team from being able to follow up right behind him. Just trying to take it, but still they're just squeezing halls.
It's impossible for Safe, and Benkai is still here to stop the reactive push.
Face in tunnel, surely. No, the players now swarming, but they're not ready for him up in tower. Benkai, he takes out Trex. It is going to get traded.
But look at the pathing here, under through tunnel.
Aduh, nggak kena Davai.
That might be what Guild need, but they will not expect these players at Arcade so fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's an instantaneous adaptation on either side.
Dapat.
They're going to try and double swing it. They do find themselves an
Dapat.
advantage, but they don't expect
Dapat.
Forsaken. Delay play, and now it's down to the 1v1.
Ayo Pai, lu one tap.
Paper X going to be taking this series.
Panik, Cok.
Divide with the operator. Ross.
Tukar senjata.
Pressure on him, he swings through, and he just cannot come up with it. Divide wins it out. And at the end of this defuse, that is going to be the series.
Thank you, bangun. Udah
selesai. They make their way for the first time in Masters into this upper bracket. Normally they're the team that goes out in groups or goes out into that lower bracket. This time they are making significant strides.
And it was a hard-fought victory on Fracture, it really was, and full credit to Guild for waking up. But Paper X
Si botak. Kalau gue gatel, Cok.
This is the team that went 4th place in Masters Reykjavik. And to me, they look better this time around. And I think part of that, Brent, is that they've made their way through the upper bracket this time. They had to get down into the lowers and scrap and fight and go on a run. And this time, they're not the
Final most ya, si Jing.
They could reasonably be described as the favorites, and they still gave us all of this flair. You still got the classic knife kills. 3 of them.
End stream ah.
Remember? 2
take